So this is a build video of the Airfix Messerschmitt BF109F kit in 1/48 scale. So the kit is being built for the 48 scale 48-hour challenge, 48 in 48. And I chose this particular kit because I've been wanting to build this thing, and it's not easy to find this nowadays, so I thought it would be a good idea to just build this. And I'm just doing a kind of like a soundtrack to it because I don't want to play music, and I'm kind of like just gonna walk you through this. So far what you're seeing is of course me just working on the bits and bobs that you find in the kit. You've already seen me do some work on the cockpit. I highlight the cockpit because actually the cockpit for the Airfix kit is very well done. The sidewall detail is molded in place, as you can see in some of the shots when they come into focus. Fit-wise, I think the kit is pretty good. Very, very simplified, to be honest. And the quality of the plastic is a little bit soft. But nevertheless, I'm finding that the build process was very enjoyable. As you can see from the video, progress was pretty quick. What you are seeing actually is me working on this at 5 o'clock in the morning because this was a 48-hour challenge, right? And it started at 12 midnight on Friday. So it's Saturday morning. So, well, my bedtime is a lot earlier than that. So I had to start only at about 5:30 when I woke up. So what you're seeing right now is me working in my room, in my work desk, and you can see the progress is pretty rapid. All that is happening right here was happening over a span of, I don't know, 30 minutes or so, and it's logical. Most of it is pretty logical, so I didn't have much of a problem fitting everything in. Those bits where I was not very logical, I have deleted from the video, so you will be spared that. So I've left you only basically with the highlights. And as I said, the highlight for me is actually the cockpit. And you can see at this particular point, you're looking at the gun breech for the motor cannon, the 20mm motor cannon, which was first introduced on the BF109F model. So that thing actually goes between the pilot's legs. There you are. And then, well, he basically has to fight with a cannon between his legs. Fit of everything else was pretty good. As you can see, here's me gently but firmly pushing the pilot's seat into place, and it pretty much clicked into place, to be honest. And that's it. That's the cockpit module. And then as you can see, that's me showing off just how nicely everything fits. It's very, very simplified. I think one thing which I missed out in the construction process was the installation of the seat belts. What you're looking at right now is me working on the armor. Now the armor plate, which is kind of like a little bulkhead thing, which fits above the pilot's head, is a separate piece. Which means that if you really, really wanted to pose this cockpit open, you could. I mean, you could just simply glue this thing, and those of you who are aware, that piece which I'm working on would actually be fitted into the canopy hood, right? So when you open a BF109F cockpit hood, that piece follows the canopy hood to the right-hand side as it opens up. But in this particular case, because the cockpit is fixed, the canopy is in one piece, nothing happens. Now this is just a segment here where I'm showing you the fit of the nose, and you will see immediately that there was a provision for the nose to be opened up. I'm not sure why, because there is no engine provided, but I suppose Airfix was basically saying, hey, if you wanted to, you could. So that created some small fit problems, But the solution to that, as you can see, and I'm quite proud of the fit that I accomplished, is to glue those pieces to the respective sides first and then fit the whole thing together. Here is the propeller spinner being cleaned up, and I wanted to emphasize this because this is of course one of the differentiators between the BF109F and the BF109E. So those are all the things for the construction part, and now you begin to see me applying the decals, which all went on very, very well, which is why I can show you this in fairly quick sequence. The decals are very well printed, very thin. I think that's the key attraction. And despite the age of the kit, they're all not yellowed at all. The decals have fared very, very well. I think the main problem that I had with the decals, and you will see this further up, is the register of the markings. And if you go back and you start to look at this video again and you pause at the respective points, you will find that the white basically sticks out just a little bit. So to solve that problem, I decided to depict this aircraft as a winter camouflaged plane, basically a JG-54 fighter, and it is painted in greens, and then the white is painted over it, and the white distemper that hides the out of register markings. Now this particular decal, and I'm using the tweezers to show you where they're supposed to go. If you look at this, can you see that round piece down, mold down there? That is a small little round access panel, and that decal is supposed to fit over that detail. That's what Airfix has done. So you have to, which is what I'm doing here, carefully position that provided decal over that molded raised detail first, so that that goes on first, obviously, because it's part of the stenciling of the aircraft. And then after that, the other markings go on, the actual specific Staffel or pilot's markings, right? The numbers, the numerals, the chevrons, or whatever it is that you choose to put in. A little word about the decals themselves. I mean, obviously, like in this particular case, you have the Grundherz. This was not out of register for some strange reason, so this was really, really very good, and I suspect it's because the white went on first and then the green went on top of that. I think it's where the white goes on subsequently or something, I'm not sure. Then you have an off register, but as you can see, this is pretty good, which is one reason why I wanted to build a Grundherz plane. Both sides, obviously, and the reason why I'm showing this part of the video is because it's important to make sure when applying the decals like this, as you can see here, to make sure that they are exactly in the same spot, mirrored as it were, on either side. Okay, and I had plenty of time to play with the decals. As I said, they worked flawlessly. Swastikas were not in the kit, so I had to source them from an old model decal sheet, and thankfully I had the correct sized one. I had one last pair of BF109 swastikas, so that's just nice. I probably will try and pick up some spares from somewhere else, and I think Edouard kits do provide some spares. Edouard kits, by the way, do provide complete swastikas as well as broken swastikas which have been separated so that you have to glue them in two pieces together. So you've got an option. Immediately, I've got a set of spares. Yeah. The tweezers that I'm using here to adjust the swastikas into place are round-tipped, fine tweezers, which I got from an art shop. I don't know what the usual application is, but obviously this is for general application. Anytime you want something which is not pointy. I'm showing you this particular decal because it's supposed to have some kind of wording on it, but it doesn't have anything on it. So I just applied it anyway, and then it gets covered up with soot and everything else later on. Now these are all the unit, staffel, and personal badges of the pilot. And again, I will have to tell you that I just basically used whatever I could find in the box. And these are all really quite badly out of register, but you can't really tell. like this, for example, you really can't tell that it's out of register unless you had a really close look. But that's the flying clog motif shield of JG54. And again, you need to make sure that they are exactly mirrored, because at this stage of the game, during World War II, pilots took a lot of pride in the aircraft they were flying. This is JG54 based in the Eastern Front in about 1942, 1943. So everything needs to be in a good. I mean, you know them; they're quite flamboyant in their camouflage markings and their camouflage, their markings, and everything else, right? So here you can see that there's lots of badges that are going on, and they're all going on either side, right? So on this side, you've got that, you got the shield, the JG54 shield, and then another smaller shield on the side. That one will be repeated on the left side, the port side as well, which is the one that's going on just about now. And then, of course, you've got that little yellow triangle down there, which I believe is some kind of rescue, some kind of warning triangle of sorts. And if you notice just now, if you scroll back the video, you will find that the port side fuselage cross has a small tiny little red cross on it. You got to be careful of that, because that fuselage cross can only go on the port side. It cannot go on any other side, because that's where the first aid kit is located. Okay, so that's the kind of detail that Airfix provided. Now, this came in the kit, the chevrons, but in actual fact, the chevrons were meant for the JG27 aircraft, which I was not building. But because the aircraft is going to be in white, I needed something which was black or darker blue. But in this case, I got the chevrons, and I just said, you know what, suddenly this is a stab aircraft, probably the adjutant's aircraft. So therefore, suddenly this aircraft got chevrons, vertical bar, and then the last one was supposed to be another vertical bar, but it was not the same height as the other bar. So I decided to exercise some artistic license and turn it into a horizontal bar, which I think worked out well. Now, there is actually enough space down there for me to add a yellow theater band, but my yellows were not working very well that day, and it's only 48 hours. So I made a decision again and left the yellow theater band off. Not all JG54 aircraft had the yellow theater band, the one which depicts them as Eastern Front aircraft. So what I planned to do was instead to leave the yellow theater band off, but paint the yellow theater color onto the rudder. That helped as well, because there were some kill marks which I wanted to use. And the kill marks were for one of the aircraft options. I'm not sure which one now. So I just basically did that. So there we are. That's the end result. And these last few shots is just of the aircraft itself, fully completed with the aerials and everything else. I was a very enjoyable build, and I hope that you had a great fun watching this as well. Thank you so much, and I will see you again.